Welcome back, you players of Game of Skill Fantasy Football. My name is Curtis.
And I'm Joel.
And we're here breaking down your Week 11 picks for the running back position. And Joel, you want to lead this off?
I absolutely will. I'm going to start with I'm going two low-end choices this week. I'm going to start with my higher of the two-end choices. And that is my favorite running back my second favorite running back in the NFL. That is Ronnie Hillman of the Denver Broncos.
Who's your favorite running back in the NFL?
DeMarco Murray.
Sorry.
Ronnie Hillman playing at the Chicago Bears. Ronnie Hillman is making his fourth straight start, and now he has the future Hall of Famer Brock Osweiler as his starting quarterback. And Denver is obviously going to look for Brock Osweiler, stepping in for Peyton Manning, to be more of a game manager and ease him into what looks like a multi-start stint for Brock. And Chicago can absolutely be run on. They're giving up 4.6 yards a carry. And this game for Denver is going to be all about field position, defense, and the running game. They're not going to want to put the game in Brock's hands. They're going to lean heavily on Ronnie Hillman and C.J. Anderson and just hope their defense can carry them through suddenly potent Chicago Bears offense. It's going to be I anticipate a very low-scoring affair. The over/under is 40.5. And the prices are $3,900 and $4,600 on DraftKings and FanDuel respectively. So yeah, Ronnie Hillman all the way.
There's a ton of things wrong with this pick, and
A ton.
I'll lead off with the fact that he's still in a timeshare with C.J. Anderson.
He's still the starting running back.
C.J. Anderson has finally started to show that he remembers how to run the football a little bit, which is not good for Ronnie Hillman's prospects. Also, to say that Brock Osweiler is a game manager, first of all, he has no management experience.
No, but that's what they're going to ask him to do. They're not going to want him to throw him to the wolves right away and throw deep balls to Demaryius Thomas all game.
Well, I hope that they do that because I think that's their only shot to win here.
No.
He's 6'7". They got this guy for his huge arm. He's Flacco-esque. This is not your game manager quarterback here. He also, in speaking for Brock Osweiler, or in his favor, I should say, he's also very athletic too. So you might see some in and arounds and maybe some like Blake Bortles type things. But anyway, so Hillman is splitting time still. The game manager thing, he's not. Brock Osweiler is not a terribly accurate quarterback. His value is in his big arm. Also, too, the Bears are pretty decent against the run. At the beginning of the year, they weren't as such, but
4.6 yards a carry is not decent against the run.
Total yardage.
4.6 yards a carry.
4.6 yards a carry.
If you run it 3 times, you get a first down.
I understand that, but Hillman and Anderson are not game-breaking sort of running backs. Also something about Hillman too that I think that's important to remember, that Hillman was favored by Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning really wanted Hillman in large part because he's good at blitz pickup. And so if they're not going to be running a Peyton Manning style offense, then maybe Hillman won't be in.
You don't think Brock Osweiler will need help with picking up blitzes in his first NFL start?
I think it's going to be more the Gary Kubiak wanted, the C.J. Anderson type running game. And if you think he's going to game manage, he's certainly not going to be back in shotgun a bunch either.
No, I think it's going to be check down city, and Ronnie Hillman is the official pass catching back of this backfield.
Your ceiling is extremely limited.
No, not at all.
Extremely limited.
I'm telling you, 20 touches.
20
touches
and what's
for
C.J. Anderson
Ronnie
going to
Hillman.
get? 20 touches
Half
too?
of that.
I mean,
If Hillman gets 20, Anderson gets 10.
And the Bears improved play too. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Bears jumping out.
But they're playing in Chicago. Like if they were playing in Denver, yes, I could see them putting the ball more in Brock's hands and letting him take some shots downfield. But playing like Chicago, Soldier Field is not a nice place to play. So he's not a rookie, but he's very green in his first
career. Start.
Yes,
yeah.
but they're not. They're going to ease him into this because he's going to be starting for the next month most likely. And so if he gets off to a rocky start now, there goes the fragile ego of an NFL quarterback.
What are those prices again?
39 and 46.
I guess a dart throw 39 is not bad on DraftKings. But yeah, just the ceilings I just feel is really, really low. He has not established himself as the #1 back.
He absolutely is. 4 weeks in a row he started.
But what's the carries breakdown? I mean, CJ.
He's averaged 15 to 18 carries a game.
All right. I agree to disagree.
I don't want you to agree.
Thank you. Next up, I'm going to go to my Lock of the Week. Lock of the Week segment sponsored by FanDuel until they shut me down. Oh, they already did. Never mind. Sponsored by DraftKings until Wednesday. My Lock of the Week this week is Charcandrick West, the Sharknado, as they like to call him now.
No, nobody likes to call him that.
They're still working out.
No.
Yeah, it's
terrible.
He's coming in DraftKings 4,500 in DraftKings, 7,100 in FanDuel. Once again, DraftKings really screwing the pooch on this amount. I do have some other just prices here. 7,100 in FanDuel. Darren McFadden is 6,800 in FanDuel. Langford 6,700 in FanDuel. So Charcandrick West is more than them on FanDuel. And DraftKings he's much less than those two. McFadden's 5,000, Langford's 5,600. So Charcandrick West playing San Diego Chargers defense, and we do still get to pick on some defenses, even though the Saints aren't playing this week and Rob Ryan's been fired. Ding dong, the witch is dead. San Diego 26th against the run. That's not good. And Charcandrick West has had 20 carries in the last 3 games. So many people were afraid that there would be a Niall Davis timeshare. That hasn't happened. I think anybody who was unfortunate to watch a number of Kansas City games saw that Niall Davis just didn't really have a ton of talent. He did get volume before, but Charcandrick West actually does have talent. 20 carries last 3 games. He's averaged 3 receptions in those games, including last week where he had an 80-yard electric catch for a touchdown against Denver, who, by the way, was 5th against running backs. Now they're 6th. So he's done it against quality defense, and now he's going up against a not-so-quality defense. Had 110 yards on the ground rushing, in addition to that 80-yard scamper and a few more. Charcandrick West, cheap, good, and we know how much Andy Reid likes to use his running back.
Cheap and good, just like I like my women.
Hey.
No, Charcandrick West has been, he has proven me wrong, but I think that has more to do with, in my 3 season-long leagues that I play in, I own Jamal Charles in all of them, so I was very anti-Charcandrick West because I did not have the handcuff in any of them. But he has proven me wrong, and this is a very, very good play. In our pre-show meeting, we both agreed on Charcandrick West as being a great value play this week. So yeah, I wish I could disagree with you, but unfortunately,
Joel begrudgingly let me speak on Charcandrick because Charcandrick is unfortunately my running back of note in our season-long league right now. So
and I also have a better value play, so I was okay to let him have the obvious play.
Oh, please.
Talking about locks of the week, the lock of the week is the best Swiss Army knife running back in the NFL, possibly in the history of the NFL. That is Darren Sproles of the Philadelphia Eagles, going up against none other than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he's the prototypical dual threat running back that we love here at Burton Coverage. And this is really, you can scribble frantically all you want. I don't care. This is really the perfect storm for a huge, possibly a career game for Darren Sproles. I'm telling you. So the perfect storm is, so he's now the number 2 running back on the depth chart because of Ryan Matthews still going through the concussion protocol, and he's already been ruled out for tomorrow's games. He's got the backup in Mark Sanchez starting for the first time this season. And Sproles came out earlier this week complaining about his lack of usage in the offense, which one is ironic because he's actually averaging more touches this year than he did last year. But one of the tried and true rules of the NFL is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And especially with Chip Kelly, because DeMarco Murray did that earlier this season. He complained about his usage. The next week he had 25 carries. I'm not saying Darren Sproles is going to get 25 carries this week, but I think with the threats, the read option that Sanchez is going to run, that is going to open up huge Lincoln Tunnel size holes for Darren Sproles, for 5'2", 95-pound dripping wet Darren Sproles to scamper through. I am looking for multiple touchdowns and 100 total yards from Darren Sproles this week. So he's going for $3,400 on DraftKings. I unfortunately do not have his FanDuel price, but he's dirt cheap.
Yeah, value play, that's fine. And whatever, 3,400 DraftKings. And I'm not going to speak,
100,
especially because Ryan Matthews is out.
Yep.
However, let me once again mention that the Bucks are 10th against the run this year and 9th against the pass.
Which means there are 9 teams better than them.
Well, it means they're top 10 overall in both categories. Actually, they're 6th overall on defense in Sproles, catches, and runs. So that's not good for him. And by the way, best Swiss Army knife player in history, Marshall Faulk.
No way.
Let's
No way.
pull-
Darren Sproles
yeah,
way better.
You know,
When you watch him, you're not talking about him on camera. You love him. You know it.
I just said it. I like Darren Sproles.
He's better than Marshall.
I could have been like, he's a bullshit.
He's better
I've had burritos bigger than him, sort of thing. And what's the deal with Chip Kelly? It's like, but Chip, I want the ball. So we have to give him the ball a bunch? Is that how Chip?
That's how the NFL
coaching
works.
style?
DeMarco Murray did it. Sammy Watkins did it.
Is this the Keyshawn Johnson
Sammy
era
Watkins did it
of
earlier
give me the
this
damn ball?
Sammy Watkins did it earlier this year, and he wound up the next week with 15 targets. That is an NFL thing. The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
So
Darren is a squeaky wheel.
why isn't Des Bryant getting 100% of all touches for the Cowboys?
Because they don't have anyone who can throw it 15 feet.
I don't have a problem on the dart for Sproles, but it's not
Not a
necessarily.
dart. It's not a dart. It's a lock.
No. I don't have a lock is the guy that's going to get 20 touches. Sproles hasn't got 20 touches his entire career. And as like you said, he's already getting those touches.
But with the 15 touches he's going to get, he will do more with 15 touches than most running backs can do with 20 or 25.
I agree with that, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a bad pick. However, I think it's once again a decent floor pick, and I wouldn't say a high ceiling.
High ceiling, hugely 20-foot ceiling.
100-yard rushing game.
100 total yards, yes.
100 total yards.
100 total yards.
I can see that.
60 yards receiving, 40 yards rushing, absolutely.
I'm fine with 100
touchdowns.
total yards. Two
Two
touchdowns. So he's
touchdowns.
going to get DeMarco Murray's touchdowns, or
No, he's
going
going
to put up 60 on the Bucks.
He's going to run one
Is that
back
what
on.
it is?
He's going to run.
You're gonna
Well, we could put 60 up on the Bucks. He's going to run one back on special teams.
Try putting up 20
and
on
he
somebody
will
first.
scamper. He will catch one in the backfield and run it for 40 yards.
I don't know.
Because Tampa doesn't know how to tackle.
This Eagle offense with especially with Mark Sanchez now, I'm a little.
Side bet?
Oh, I'm sure there'll be side bets, but I'm not gonna.
You're not going to do it on camera.
You get my research. Hey, I said your pick. I said your pick was okay. It's an okay pick. A lock of the week, yeah.
Lock.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to more established running backs, and
More established! Because he's had a terrible career. Are
What?
you kidding me?
established.
More established. The New Orleans Saints offense has taken a nosedive.
How many
since he
carries
left.
has Darren Sproles had in his entire career? I mean, is the average 4 carries?
He's never been
a
a lead
game?
back, but that's not. He's never been
He's
asked
not
to be a
gonna
lead back.
this
But
game.
are you telling me that he had no effect on the amazing juggernaut New Orleans
I'm
offense?
telling you, for less than 1,000 more, you can have Sharkhandrick West. It's
Whatever.
going to have,
Whatever.
you know, he's going to
Who's
get
played
guaranteed
5
25
NFL
catches.
games.
Well, that's not my. And if you let me say established, I was going to talk about Frank Gore, Mr. Established, possible Hall of Famer Frank Gore. Sproles isn't even going in the Eagles Hall of Fame.
What?
He might go in the Drew Brees players I wish I still had Hall of Fame.
You
or
are
Jimmy
drunk.
Graham.
You are drunk.
I don't know. I mean, was Sam Horn there? I don't know. But Frank Gore, 4,700 in DraftKings, 6,600 in FanDuel. So we know that Frank Gore is going to get a bunch of touches. He has had 22 and 28 carries the past 2 weeks, 28 carries last week for Frank Gore. Frank Gore was initially brought in to pick up maybe 10 to 15 carries. We mix in Bradshaw or whoever else, and then we'd save, the Colts were going to save Frank Gore for the playoffs. Unfortunately, luck was the bust of fantasy football this year, and for the Colts, I have him in a league, and that's not going well. I did pick up Derek Carr, so that helped. Yeah, so Frank Gore is actually going to resume his role as workhorse back, and he's excelled in that role throughout his career. And there's nothing in the past few games that has said any differently, and there's nothing in the past few years that have said that he wouldn't be able to handle that. So the big thing is in this matchup, and you'll look at it and you'll be like, well, I'm not going to play Frank Gore because Atlanta is third against the run. Yeah, that's huge, third against the run. But as my counterpart on the couch would say, stats ain't everything, because obviously the Bucs are no good against the run. Atlanta, I use my handy iPhone here to pull up Atlanta's schedule, and these are the teams that Atlanta's played this year. They played the Eagles, who we know DeMarco Murray got off to a slow start. I'm not going to hit on that, but we know how that happened. The Giants, who are in a mess again in the run game. Then they played the Cowboys, who were in a mess then and still not that great. They played Week 4 Houston. They played Arian Foster, who was out that game. Then they played the Redskins, mess. Saints beat the Falcons. Ingram had a decent game. Then they played the Titans, who obviously Antonio Andrews is no Adrian Peterson. Then they played the Bucs. Doug Martin did have a decent game, but not a great game. The Bucs did win that game, by the way. And then they played the Sean Drawn, Pierre Thomas-led San Francisco 49ers. So they have not played a high-volume, quality running back this year until Frank Gore. I really like Gore. He's 11th in the league in rushing, and just keeps on trucking. And with Hasselbeck at the helm, Hasselbeck's not going to light the world on fire in the passing game. He is the game manager type at this point. There's still decent receivers there, so a receiver could break something, but it's not going to be a lot of long Hasselbeck stretching the field thing. It's going to be a lot of Gore a lot of the time.
The only thing, I think you're right on most points. The only thing that concerns me about Frank Gore's play this week is I think Atlanta could be up really big, really early, which would completely negate the running game. As much as they want and need Frank Gore to have a big game to keep this game competitive, I just don't. There's no scenario in which I can picture Indianapolis being within 2 touchdowns at halftime.
Scenario 2 touchdowns at halftime?
No.
I mean, that's,
not at all.
You're thinking completely. Well, then that hurts Falcons stats too.
These are two teams that are trending in the opposite direction. I mean, Andrew Luck, the Indianapolis Colts had Super Bowl aspirations. They're obviously still leading the division, but they are not a Super Bowl caliber, barely a playoff caliber team at this point. T.Y. Hilton has been less than ideal. Dante Moncrief had a span of 3 games where he was good. We haven't heard from him since. And outside of that, no. Ideally on paper, yes, it looks good, but I just don't think that I don't think he's gonna be worth the price you're gonna pay for him.
Well, I hate to digress then, but you did in an earlier segment pick Matt Ryan as a quarterback pick of the week. If you think they're gonna be up 2 touchdowns, I mean, do you think Matt Ryan's gonna be throwing a ton then?
Yep. Yeah, 2-game losing streak. They just lost to the Niners. Yes, and
they're at the score
they're at home.
situation.
Absolutely. If they're up 2, they're still throwing the ball on second down.
See, if I was going to play Matt Ryan, I would hope for a closer game. And Hasselbeck is not a bad quarterback.
No, not at all. He won't lose you the game, but he won't win you the game. I just don't think Frank Gore is going to be in a position to win the Colts the game this week.
I just, even in a game where the Colts are down, it's going to limit his touches, but I don't, he might not get the 28, but I think 20 is still possible.
It's possible, yes, but if they're down 2 scores at halftime, I think 15 touches is probably more the ball.
But even with 15, he's only 4,700 in DraftKings, 6,600 in FanDuel. If he sneaks in a touchdown there, you're covered. So, yeah. Not my lock of the week, but I think a pretty solid play. My solid play of the week
is Darren Sproles.
Oh, come on. All right, you'll hear more about our Bucks-Eagles matchup later in other segments and
we should do a live segment during that game.
Ooh, nice. I'll think about that. But unfortunately, you will be banned from anywhere I'm watching that game. My name's Curtis.
And I'm Joel.
And we hope to see you in our next segment.
Next week on the couch.
See ya.